All right. For today, I want to check out this video. I saw this and I was absolutely losing my fucking mind. This is so funny to me. This is a video by WizardHyeong. Oh, yeah, WizardHyeong. And I've played Destiny, or not Destiny. I'm sorry. I just recorded a Destiny video, but Overwatch. I did enjoy Overwatch 1. I stopped, I think, around the time of GOATs, and then I got back in like after that was fixed for a bit, and then I stopped playing completely cold turkey, and then got back in I keep trying to say Destiny. Oh my god, Overwatch 2, and I did enjoy the beginning when that was released. Like, it was pretty fun. Kiriko was busted as hell, but hey, it was back, and it wasn't bad. It wasn't great, but it wasn't bad. Like, I will say there were some problems, and then some characters, like this one when he came out, were absolutely problematic. But when I saw this, I knew I needed to go and see this because this is so funny to me what I heard was going on and how they were doing it. And I was laughing hearing it. And if you do enjoy the video, make sure to go over to WizardHyeong's channel, give him a subscribe. Like, I'm actually going to do that now myself. And then leave a comment for his algorithm because he deserves it. Let's get into this.
Tank players in Korea just started a rebellion. They call it Maoga mentality. Korean tanks.
I'm surprised he used the Ramaji for this. I guess the pronunciation is why. Because this is just a U. Like, it is spelled like just Mauga. I guess just the pronunciation, that's why, but
Are sick and tired of getting blamed every game, sick of being told to self-sacrifice while
this is funny as hell though. Like, okay, so something for me is like 90% of the time, when I play any of these games, like whether it's Marvel Rivals, whether it's Overwatch, I am never the one who is DPS. I'm always either tank or a healer. Never, I'm like rarely ever supposed to be the one who's on DPS.
everyone else plays however they want. Sick of being told to switch when DPS and supports
This is a
refuse
great
to
meme.
swap themselves.
This is a great meme. They're in the freaking training area. Tank swap. What is this?
So they stopped. They started picking heroes like Maoga, Roadhog, or Reinhardt, heroes that can ignore the traditional job of protecting the team and just play their own game, to a point where you
That's so funny. They're just like, I don't want to be your tank. I'm going in. I'm going to just play around because I don't care about you people. And it's definitely like a problem because guess what? There's only one tank now that they made it. So it's 5v5. It used to be 6v6. You could have, it used to be 2v2, 222 lock. They had it back in Overwatch 1 where it wasn't locked. Like, there was not a set amount. That's what gave rise to GOATs, which was 3 tanks, 3 heals, or sometimes like 1 DPS would swap one of those 2 roles, mainly tank, I believe. But other than that, it was just tank and heal. That was it. And now you have 1 tank, which is like the exact opposite, like the most radical distance from what happened. And it is absurd that we have this.
can see both teams' tank just lock Maoga, walk up, and shoot each other in the face until one of them dies. A gentleman's agreement to make the tank diff impossible. And the message here is pretty clear. You keep saying tank diff? Fine. And let's see what happens when the DPS and supports actually have to prove themselves. And this movement, the Maoga mentality, is so popular in Korea, it's all over the Korean community and Korean YouTube. And it became popular for a reason, because it reveals something about playing tank in Overwatch competitive, especially in Korea. Tanks are tired of being responsible for everything under.
It is definitely true that, like, if your tank doesn't do something, guess what? Your whole team isn't doing something. Like, most of everything will come down to the tank player, especially since there's only one right now, or like one in this game. Every decision, every push, every fallback basically relies on the tank. Every play needs to start with a tank. Like, DPS, like, if they're flanking or they get a pick, like, great. But guess what? Even if you get a pick, if your tank isn't pushing up, you're still not taking ground. You're still not making any distance. You're not making progress. Everything relies on your tank player. And if they're bad, or if they're like unable to like capitalize, guess what? Nothing else happens. So if the tank doesn't do anything, guess what? No one else is going to do anything.
understood by no one and getting blamed before anyone else look at their own job. And as someone who played in both regions and also coached professional players from Korea and the West, I think this meme is pointing something worth understanding for every Overwatch player, no matter what role you play. Real quick, if you want to get better at Overwatch, check
Let
out
it
Winnable
play.
Academy. You get full curriculum that is designed to help players from bronze all the way to champion. It's based on the exact concepts I use to coach pro players and my private coaching students. And for now, you get access to weekly group aim
That's
class,
peak.
1v1 dojo, all for $30 a month.
Aim
Links in the
training.
description. Back to the Mauga mentality. So when I say Korean tank players started a rebellion, I mean it. I mean the community is treating it like one. I first noticed this while live coaching one of my Korean students.
Okay, wait. This is a slight tangent. I wonder if this could be like the same thing as like the tank strikes and the healing strikes that happened on Rivals. Like those ones were like they were like little kid hissy fits. Like if this does pick up with this trend, it could actually go like it could actually be crazy with how it is. Because those ones like nothing happened. It was just people complaining, people upset, like, oh, I can get dough over, people don't care. It's like, but with tank, it's like you're the only tank. No one else can do the role for you. And this is way different. So I'm actually really curious where this one progresses.
Then I checked Korean Overwatch YouTube and forums, and it was everywhere. Some players called it the tank rights movement, and some people called it the tank union. And the community even
like
gave
the
it
union.
visual language of a labor protest, as if they're on full strike. Red headbands, union-style slogans, protest memes, all of that. And that's exactly why Mauga's red headband skin, Sand, became one of the symbols of this whole movement. The
That's
more important
so
part is not
funny.
the skin, it's the logic behind the protest. When both tanks are doing the same thing, standing there shooting at each other as Mauga in the face, there's no tank diff left to blame. The tank variable is out of the equation, and that's the whole point. The
Yeah.
protest forces the conversation onto the roles that usually get to hide behind the tank diff. For once, the DPS and supports have to
What is
look
this
at their own
animation?
job. Did they take good angles? Did they use the free space? And what makes it even more wild is that it's
Wait,
not rare to
that the
see
original
both
one?
tanks agree to do this. Two tanks meet in the middle, basically make a peace treaty. Korean tanks were trying to make a statement, even if that meant they were not fully prioritizing winning that specific game. And that's how much the tank players in Korea wanted to make the statement. And also,
So
there's even a
funny.
joke say, my Q time is shorter than your skill cooldown.
Dude, I love Asian trash talking. It's so fucking good, dude. Oh my god, this is so funny.
So instead of trying to deal with the blame and getting mentally checked out, they just do Mauga mentality and move on to the next game without getting mentally burned. Because the tank queue time is just very short. The role everyone blames
Yet no one wants to play it. Like, look at this. Like, less than a minute. Less than six. Like, basically, oh my god. It's so much different. Like, everyone wants to be a fucking DPS. Everyone, like, afterwards would be a support instead. No one wants to be tank. No one, like, in most games will want to be a tank. Like, I find it to be one of the most enjoyable roles. Like, in MMOs or RPGs, like, I think the tank role is, like, one of the most fun to have. And yet, in, like, some of these ones, no one likes it. And I guess it does make sense. It's not the flashiest, it's not the most, like, I wouldn't say impactful, because, like, it is, like, probably the most impactful, specifically in this game. Because, like, if you don't have a tank and you have just 2 DPS, 2 support, guess what? You're not winning.
is also the role that's
Unless you're, like, smurfing, like, extremely hard.
hardest to replace. And to be clear, I'm not saying this is good. If someone queues up and just ruined the game, that's just throwing the game with the slogan. And the fact that this meme spreads like crazy definitely tells you something.
They're
A
laughing.
lot of tank players felt this miserable feeling before they had a name for it. And this isn't just my coaching observation. I asked 2 Korean pro players separately. Top Dragon, the DPS player who won OWCS championship in Japan and plays every role at champion level, and Kellan, a longtime veteran player since early Overwatch League and now playing tank for Dallas Fuel.
그러면은 실제로 탱커들이 좀 다른 역할군에 비해서 정치를 좀 자주 당한다. 요렇게 좀 생각을 하시나요?
아 탱커할 때 당했어요 저. 탱커할 때 당하더라고요. 딜러 할 때는 안 당하는데 탱커할 때 당하더라고요.
만 했다.
탱커는
Well, yeah, guess what? If there's only one tank with 2 DPS, it's easier to blame the one tank than the 2 DPS.
진짜 죄가 없는데 당하는 경우가 진짜 많아요. 맞아요, 맞아요. 그리고 보통은 제가 생각했을 때 저도 이제 속으로 생각하잖아요. '와 우리 팀 힐러 진짜 못한다. 아 얘는 진짜 못한다.' 이런 식으로 생각을 하잖아요. 보통 그렇게 생각한 애가 정치를 박아요. 자기의 잘못을 숨기려고 남한테 먼저 뒤집어 씌우는 거예요 먼저 그냥. 자기도 자기가 못하는 거 알걸? 자기도 자기가 표면총 빗나가고 힐맨 빗나갔는데 '우리 팀이 자리를 안 만들어 주니까 내가 이렇게 되는 거야.' 그냥 이렇게 생각하는 거예요 그냥.
제가 옛날엔 그렇게 생각 안 했는데 최근 경쟁전을 해 보니까 좀 그런 것 같더라고요. 제가 모든 포지션을 좀 다 많이 하는데
네네.
모든 포지션을 해도 다 탱커한테 정치가 좀 많은 것 같긴 해요.
Yeah, like for most of these games, like you see people complain about depending on the game, but like most of the time, I usually see people either complain about the heals or the DPS, but that's because they're in the lower part of the lobbies where they think everyone needs to cater to them. And then later up when you get to the top where it's like you need the tanks that can make these like these plays or these moves, these positionings of like available for the rest of the team. If they aren't up to par, or if you don't think they're up to par with what you want, you're gonna blame them more than you blame like, oh, I didn't get enough healing to get out of a situation that I put myself in. No, you're gonna be blaming the tank, which is so unfortunate because it's like they're so invaluable.
그래서 잘은 모르겠는데 약간
Except for this one time where in Rivals where I played a comp, or not comp, but a quick play. We went 6 DPS and we almost pushed the whole point. It was so stupid, but it almost worked.
무지성 정치도 좀 있는 것 같긴 하고 뭔가 혼자니까 만만해서 그런 게 아닐까. 또
Exactly,
앞
yeah.
상황은 탱커밖에 모르니까. 제가 경쟁하면서 느낀 건 힐러가 약간 자기들이 스킬 못 맞추거나 자기들이 못 살아도 우리 탱커는 뭐함? 약간 이렇게 되는 것도 좀 있는 것 같아요.
So tank players get
Yeah, actually, that's a great point he brought up too. Right now, it's specifically in Overwatch, there's only one tank, right? So they can't babysit the backline if they're getting dove or if they're getting shot at. They have to be in the front to keep the space, otherwise they're just gonna get run over. And then guess what? If the healers aren't being catered to by the tank player, they're just gonna blame them. Even though, guess what? They should be saving themselves. They should be able to handle themselves, or at least take care of each other, like heal to heal, or have the DPS help them out. But no, like if you look at Rivals, guess what? They're playing patty cake whenever they're getting dove because that's what is their best chance to survive. They aren't going to be seeing like crying like, "Oh, go thing," and then just run away from the front line, assuming like there's only one tank. So then we don't die, or we don't have to deal with it, or we don't have to like try to survive.
getting flamed everywhere. But why is this rebellion happening in Korea, not NA, not EU? Korean ranked has a very specific cultural pressure. If you don't play the meta pick, your team treats as if you're griefing them. If Winston is meta and you pick Diva, people are much more likely to say, we lost because you didn't play Winston. And honestly, it's not just over.
I have definitely been a meta slave for a long time when I play games, and honestly, depending on the game, if I don't care enough to do my own like freestyle because actually enjoy it, I'll be a meta slave. I don't give a shit. Like I'll play whatever is like said. Oh, this is the best right now, or one of the best, or something like that. Like unless I'm like playing like with a group of friends or like just to mess around, like I'm gonna pick like what's best because guess what? That's what's best for a reason. It has the most value, or it can get the most value or less, or the easiest way.
Overwatch, when I played unorthodox champions in League of Legends about 10 years ago, like Mid-Jena or Heimerdinger support, my teammates would
That's
immediately,
funny as
during the
hell.
champ selection, share some of very creative things about my mom, like how she passed away. Kellan plays in both Korean and NA servers, and he told me what the difference actually feels like.
약간 픽에 대한 차이는 좀 있는 것 같긴 해요. 한국은 약간 메타 픽을 안 하면 약간 다른 포지션에 있는 사람들이 약간 썩이 나간다 치면
That's actually another great point he brought up. Some people, if one thing doesn't go their way, they just quit immediately, or they just start throwing. They're like such loser mentality people that like the first inconvenience or the first setback, they've already given up, and now they're doing a self-fulfilling prophecy of, oh, we're gonna lose. We didn't do this, we didn't get this, we're gonna lose, and they just keep acting in a way that they will never come back from.
북미나 유럽 같은 쪽은 어떤 픽을 해도 약간 별로 신경 안
Sometimes.
쓰고 자기 할 거 하더라고요. 예를 들어 뭐 메타가 윈스턴인데 디바 같은 거라면 아 너가 윈스턴 안 해서 졌어. 약간 이런 식으로 그냥 끝나는? 저는 문화 차이 같아요. 약간 한국은 진짜 약간 이기려고 하고 막 점수 올리려고 하고 이렇게 하는 것 같은데 해외는 진짜 즐기려고 하는 사람들이 더 많은 것 같아서 그런 것 같아요.
게임을
I do believe that is extremely true. Like, the Asian countries, they are way more competitive in like these games than any other demographic, I would say, combined. Like, it is insane how much they try to go for just victory at all costs compared to other regions. Like, guess what? We have people that are like one tricks of like the worst characters of stuff, and yes, and people are gonna flame them when they pick it. They still can do well, but people are still gonna flame them even if they do well.
재미를 위해서 하는 느낌을 최상위권에서 그런 임에도 불구하고 그런 느낌을 좀 받나요?
네, 많이 받아요.
어떤 부분에서 그렇게 좀 느끼시나요?
막 모이라 해도 막 뭐라 안 하고
네네.
서로 막 말도 별로 없고 마오가 해도 우린 할 수 있다 약간 이러면서 그냥 진행하고 약간 한국은 가끔 가다 픽 마음에 안 들면 그냥 아예 안 하는 사람들도 가끔 있어요.
Exactly. That's
그
what I'm saying.
메타픽이 아닌 건 하면 안 된다. 이 느낌이 너무 심해요. 롤도 그렇고 뭐 에이펙스 레전드도 그렇고 그냥 메타픽이 아닌 거는 하면 팀한테 민폐다. 근데 저는 북미랑 유럽은 안 그렇다 보거든요. 북미랑 유럽은 전 절대 아니라 봐요. 뭐 게임인데 뭐 이런 느낌? 근데 이제 한국은 그 문화가 너무 심해서
북미 서버에서 정치도 좀 종종 더 있는 것 같은지 아니면 그 한국 서버에서 그래도 유난히 좀 더 많은 것 같은지.
아 이거는 한국 사버가
Okay, like I was saying earlier, the like the amount of trash talking in Asian servers is insanely high. Like, it is so funny to see though. I do think it's funny. I'm not
80%
gonna
정도 더
lie.
있는 것 같아요. 좀 더 유난히 많은 것 같긴 해요. 약간 진작 없고 이기고
Yeah.
싶고 그런 게 있는 것 같아요.
That's the culture layer. But there's another layer underneath, and this one isn't unique to Korea. This one applies to every tank player in every region. Because
Get 'em,
even
get
if
'em.
we remove the Korean culture pressure entirely, tanks would still be the most blamed role in this game, as some of these very popular videos stated. And there's some structural problem behind this.
이제 오버워치 2로 넘어오면서 탱커는 한 명이고 딜러 힐러는 두 명씩 있잖아요. 혼자 있는 탱커한테 그 인게임에서 정치를 하는 비율이 되게 높았거든요. 혼자니까 실드를 쳐줄 사람이 없어.
Yeah, this is what I was saying earlier. Like, the other, like, in rivals, since you can have 6 people, you can have 2 people tanking, and when that happens, guess what? That means they can help protect the other tank or like shore up their weaknesses. But when you're on this one, where on Overwatch where you have one tank to do everything, you basically have to be perfect, otherwise you're basically just done. And your teammates, they don't care about that. They want to win. They don't care what you're going through.
그러니까 이제
이제 탱커가 이제 혼자다 보니까 옆에 변호를 해줄 친구가 없어요. 근데 힐러는 이제 변호를 해주고 딜러도 변호를 해주는데 내 옆에 있는 애는 잘못 아니야 이러고 이제 일단 탱커한테 뭐라 하는 것 같아요. 일단 가장 먼저 보이는 포지션이기도 하고.
So far, we've talked about why tanks get flamed, why they're always alone and lonely. But before we talk about why is this so unfair, let's actually check the premise. Are tanks really that important? Is tank diff actually real? Is the game really over when you have a bad tank?
일단 탱커는 못하면 집니다.
I literally brought this up at the very beginning. Like, no matter what, if you have a bad tank and you like your DPS and your support are pushing up, but your tank isn't, and their team is holding the ground, or they even push back, and your tank is still not pushing, like, you're going to lose. Unless your team is like the skill gap between all roles is like so much higher than the deficit between your tanks. Like, you'd have to be basically playing like a pre-made game with like fans or like with friends or something, and the skill gap is just so bad. Like, that's really the only way you can have like the worst tank beat like a good tank.
못하면 그 게임을 지는 게 맞고
네네. 그거 왜
그리고
그렇죠?
잘해도 못 이깁니다.
그거 왜 그렇죠?
탱커가 막 계속 죽고 그런다. 일단 죽으면 못 이겨요. 근데 못한다의 기준이 죽는 거예요, 탱커는. 일단 이제 건물로 따지면은 탱커는 이제 토대예요, 토대. 빌딩의 토대. 그래서 토대가 없으면 그 위에 기둥도 못 짓고 뭐 인테리어도 못 하죠. 그래서 이제 탱커가 못 하면은 이제 시작도 못 한다. 그냥 그래서 그대로 진다는 거예요.
저는 탱커가 구멍이면 못 이긴다는 맞는 것 같아요. 일단 힐러들이 뭐 딜을 해야 될 상황인데 탱커가 너무 많이 맞아서 힐만 하게 되면
That is also the thing. Like he did say supports need to do damage. That is absolutely the case that has gone on to the higher levels. Lower levels, you do have to kind of heal bot because no one's good enough to actually like maintain it. Once you get to the higher levels, tanks should be decently self-sufficient to protect themselves a decent amount. Not completely. They still need like maybe one person to be healing quite a bit. But the DPS or the healers need to be going for other damage to make sure that the other healers or the other DPS are either dead or unable to like heal the other tank or the other team. So it's actually so important for the other roles to be damaging the other roles and for the tank to just be able to stay alive in order to win a lot more fights. And that's only when you're at like the higher tiers of skill levels.
또 자리를 못 민다 생각해가지고. 근데 또 탱커가 엄청 잘한다고 해서 이기는 것도 아닌 것 같긴 해요. 아무래도 탱커 하나 되고 이제 뭐 상대방 딜러나 힐러를 막을 수 있는 게 옛날 오버워치 1보다 좀 한정되어 있어가지고 탱커가 뭐 좀 더 오래 맞고 이런다 해도 딜러나 힐러들이 못하면 이기기가 좀 어렵더라고요.
So let's put it all together. If your tank is bad, you lose. That part of tank diff is real. But if your tank is good, your team still has to be good. Tank doesn't build a house, tank is the foundation. But here's where it gets ugly. Because people use this asymmetry, they use tank diff as a scapegoat, as a magic word to wash their hands off their own play. And I can personally relate to this very well because it happened to me pretty
in front of
recently.
them.
I came back to playing Overwatch after almost 3 months off, and as I was climbing back to Grandmaster, I ran into one of those games. In Dorado, we got full health, and my team starts typing tank diff in chat. Now, what happened there was we had 2 hit scan DPS, not flanking, playing just main angle, and we had Mercy and Moira, or maybe Lifeweaver or something like that. I don't exactly remember, but either way, one of those worst pairing supports that cannot really enable tank. I'm not saying I played perfect or anything, but in my personal educated opinion, if we have Mercy and 2 hit scan DPS, I would say it is more of a DPS game rather than a tank game. So I genuinely wanted to ask and understand why they're thinking it's a tank diff, so we hopped on voice chat. The first thing he said was, you know, in Overwatch 2, tank has become the most important role. People say it's a tank game. Do you agree? And by the way, his in-game name was DPS LF Mercy. So while some part of tank diff do exist, so many players are using this as a scapegoat. So even though tanks matter, the binary thinking of we lost because of the tank usually doesn't hold up. In a lot of these situations, what people think of as the responsibility of tanks, like taking space or engaging or hero swapping, can actually be shared by the team.
중요하긴 한데 꼭 탱커가 바꿔야 된다는 없는 것 같습니다. 딜러도 가위바위보 싸움 해야 되고 힐러도 가위바위보 싸움 해야 되고 다 같이 하는 게 맞다고 생각합니다.
Yeah.
무조건 딜러
Like, I don't understand why it's always on the tank specifically to just swap for the other tank. Because the other people, they can swap too. Like, certain people, like, can wall off, like, other parts of the team. Or even the other tank. So it's like, anyone should be switching. It's not just one person switches over and over.
랑 힐러도 바꿀 수 있고
네네.
저는 실제로 그냥 제가 바꿔요.
우리 팀 섭딜이 뭐 자리를 이상하게 먹어가지고 이제 뭐 상대 탱커를 못 때려서 내 상대 섭딜은 자리를 잘 먹어서 탱커를 때려가지고 우리는 밀리고 상대는 밀고 들어오고 뭐 이런 상황이나 아니면은 뭐 충분히 힐러도 이제 각을 벌릴 수 있는 애들이 있죠. 키리코나 일리아리 이런 애들. 그런 애들이 각 안 벌리고 그냥 정면에만 그냥 서가지고 찍찍 쏘니까 그냥 자리는 자리대로 다 상대가 벽 끼면서 미는데 우리는 이제 설 자리가 없는. 그쵸? 아니면은 왜 먼저 안 가냐? 약간 아나가 나노를 들고 있는데 이제 탱커가 이제 나노 주겠지 했는데 안 줬어. 그래서 뺐어. 근데 이제 힐러가 아니 좀 먼저 가면 안 돼? 이제 이러는. 또 사실 충분히 아나가 이제 보고 상대도 나오네? 우리 탱커 여기 있네? 그냥 줘야겠다고 누를 수 있잖아요.
But still, while I very much agree with what they were saying, but in my own experience, I do think tanks are required to swap a little bit more often than the other roles. I noticed this when I was preparing my Winston course. I try to climb as Winston one trick, but there were so many counters every game. So despite playing Winston for 3 weeks, I was hovering around Master 3, but once I started picking more flexible tank heroes, I was able to climb to Grandmaster in just 8 days. And obviously, this doesn't mean only tanks should swap, but I think it is true that tanks are often more pressure to switch their hero. Okay, so let's recap. Tanks get blamed more than other roles. And gaming culture in Korea is even making it worse to a point where they literally started a rebellion. If your tank is bad, you're very likely to lose. If your tank is good, you don't always win. And a lot of things that people blame on the tank, taking space, engaging, switching heroes, those can be shared responsibilities. So if you are a tank player, what do? How do you actually enjoy this role without playing Mauga and going on full strike?
탱커로 그렇게 경쟁전을 잘 이기려면 힐을 안 먹으면서 해야 되거든요. 진짜
Yeah, this is
안
what I was
먹는
saying as well. Like, you have to be self-sufficient, like decently self-sufficient, because you need to have your other team like actually taking space like away from you. Like, maybe having one healer to support, like assist you, maybe like would help. But then your other support should be like trying to take out their supports or the enemy supports. Your DPS should be trying to take out the other team's DPS or support. Like, you have to be like on your own, kinda, and the rest of your team needs to be actually doing something, not just heal botting or just damage botting, soaking the freaking other tank.
마인드로 해야 돼요. 우리 힐러는 없다 게임에 이 마인드로 해야 돼요. 이제 힐을 줄 거라고 생각하지 말고 얘가 그래도 힐을 주네 이렇게 받아들여야 돼. 당연히 나한테 힐을 주겠지라고 받아들이면 스트레스가 진짜 10배가 돼요 거기서.
그거 완전 공감합니다. 예, 제가 경험자였기 때문에.
당연히 힐을 안 주겠지가 돼야 돼요. 네, 얘는
음.
당연히 나한테 힐을 안 줄 거야가 되면 좀 덜합니다.
음.
그래서 플레이도 그러면 더 정교해지는 게 더 피 관리 하려고 하고 더 힐팩 먹으려고 하고 더 혼자 그냥 하려고 하고 이렇게 되거든요.
네네.
근데 거기서도 정치가 들어올 수 있는 게 탱커님 정면에 좀 서주세요.
맞아요.
이게
그리고 저
진짜
티어도 라인님 왜 라인인데 실드 안 드나요? 저기 상대편
이게
포킹인데 저희 실드 좀 하죠. 막 이런 거 진짜 너무 많거든요.
그쵸. 근데 어쩔 수 없어요. 그거 쌩까야 돼요. 이제 그게 쌩까는 게 맞다라고 말씀드릴 수 있는 게 그렇게 앞에서 방패 들어줘야 되는 애들이면은 들어줘도 뭐 아무것도 안 해요.
탱커의
That is so true. They need to be babied. They can't like function outside of it. They aren't creative enough to do something when you're like on your own or you're tanking. They're just sitting behind your shield or just sitting behind you, mindlessly shooting the enemy, not doing anything with it.
때 약간 구도를 보고 약간 머릿속으로 맵을 생각한 다음에 약간 어느 쪽 사이드를 밀면 상대가 뭐 한쪽으로 몰리고 약간 이런 거 생각하면서 그 구도대로
What? No, I'm
되면
kidding.
재밌는 것 같아요.
그러니까 어떻게 보면은 사실 일반인 유저분들 중에 거의 95% 이상이 이 구도에 대해서 전혀 이제 생각을 아마 하기 힘드실 텐데 그래서 더더욱 정말 고티어 가는 게 아니면 엄폐 잘 끼기도 힘들고 힐을 더더욱 많이 필요로 할 거고 이제
맞아요.
그래서 좀 더 스트레스를 받을 수 있을 것 같아요. 어떻게 보면 탱커가 굉장히 어려운 포지션이군요.
네, 그런 것 같아요. 근데 만약에 그게 어렵다. 둠피스트나 레킹볼 하면 좀 재밌지 않을까. 저는 약간 좀 그나마 좀 혼자 캐리 많이 할 수 있는 디바나 레킹볼 이런 걸 그냥 하는 게 낫지 않나. 디바 같은 캐릭은 이제 매트릭스 있어서 피 관리도 할 수 있고 이
Balls
스킬
group
때문에
disengage.
사이드 딜도 세가지고 딜러를 이긴다고 생각해가지고
Thank you for watching this video, and this is a new style of video that I tried, and if you guys like this style, you can leave a comment and like the video. Thank you. So I'm gonna finish this video with the interview clip from a legendary tank player who won world championship multiple times, Hanbin.
그리고 오버워치 꿈나무들에게 포지션 추천해볼까요?
Not
일단
tank.
탱커는 절대 하지 마라 얘들아.
Yes. Yes. That's so funny. Okay. Like, it does make sense to me that with the way that Koreans are, and really just the Asian like demographic for competitive gaming, just having the people that are like, I'm tired of being the punching bag. You guys go have fun on your own and deal with the stuff you're on your own. I think that's so fucking funny. Like them when they were just running up and just shooting each other.
Reinhardt, heroes that can ignore
where is
popular
it?
in Korea. It's all over the Korean community.
That
Make the
just-
tank
I
diff
think it's so
impossible.
funny.
And the message here is pretty clear. You keep saying tank diff, fine. And let's see what happens when the
I love it. Let's see, what are some of the people saying? Solo queue tank can only be described as willingly taking psychological abuse. I feel like that's Sigma spray with his arms crossed. Okay. The worst thing about playing tanks is that you have to become an IRL tank for taking the insults thrown at you. I support the tank rebellion. I hope it spreads to NA and EU. So a bad tank dooms the game, a good tank can't save it. That is very true. Like, I was like kind of like slapping on them. Like they are like in my opinion, the most important role. But if you don't have them, you're screwed. But if you do have them, you're not even guaranteed to win. It's tragic. It is the saddest thing to have to deal with. But yeah, it was fun to see this. I think it's so funny to hear about tanks going on strikes in like more mediums because I think it's so funny. Okay, but if you did enjoy the video by WizardHyeong, go to his channel, subscribe, like, leave a comment for his algorithm to help him out. And with that, I think we're done here. Let me know what you guys think down below. And with that, we out.